So even though we may strive for outstanding decision making at all times, there is an element of chanciness in this. Does that mean the organization will not allow decisions at all? No. Or will the organization not allow decisions to be taken across the organization? Certainly not. If the organization means to create a culture, it has to not merely say that we are for decision, it has to walk the talk. Now, what does that mean? If it is a policy that the culture of the organization will support decision making, then there has to be evidence of it. Is there evidence late conditions or the red lines are consistently followed? Is it true also that if there's a culture for decision making, or at least there is a policy that says that decision making is going to be supported, are people allowed to take decisions? Are they allowed to make mistakes? Or is the organization saying, okay, it's up to the office of the CEO or the MD, and that's where the decision will be taken? So you've got to appreciate that in your own way, you're all leaders. Please appreciate what you're doing. Are you creating a culture that is supportive of decision making, or are you also towing the line that, look, I'm giving lip service to decision making across the organization, to a culture of decision making, but I'm you know not doing. I mean, that's only lip service. I'm really stopping others from taking a call. There's another question we've received right now. The questioner says, is it important to have a few decision makers and the rest as execution arm? A very, very good question. Now, you've got to understand that what makes leadership? It's not something that comes to a person only by virtue of a designation. Leadership is also a result of a person's ability to think differently, to envision a future that is desirable, to create conditions where the person's own experience and domain knowledge will be useful. So if I use this definition of leadership, then depending on the situation in a group, I would expect that if one person has domain expertise or experience in a certain area, that person should use it. But very often, the future might require some other kind of expertise to be available, in which case, others will also need to participate. So I really do believe that decision making, especially in groups, is not only based on individuals, it's really a group process, because even if the leader who ultimately prevails has to get the entire team going as a commander in an army, for instance, if he wants his soldiers to trek through the night and occupy a peak on the enemy lines, the leader has to have the ability to convince everybody else, including those to be as experienced as the leader himself or herself. So to respond to your point, therefore, it's not as if you have an execution arm and leadership arm. In good execution, in good leadership, everybody participates and brings his or her best capabilities to the forefront. Let's now move to the second important aspect of what makes for effective organization culture and effective organizations that support decision making. You know, there's a very beautiful term that I've used in my book, written quite some time back, the book on total quality. It says we need to have PAMS alignment. Now, PAMS is an acronym that stands for principles, actions, measures, and strokes. Now, what this really means is that if you are saying as a principle that decision making is important to the organization and you will encourage at all times, then your measurement,